Once you've made a list of every fear that you think may be affecting your thinking and your behavior, organize the items in order of importance. Which fear do you feel has the greatest impact on your thinking or holds you back more than any other fear? Which fear would be number 2? What would be your third major fear, and so on? With regard to your predominant fear, write the answers to these 3 questions. Number 1, how does this fear hold me back in life? Number 2, how does this fear help me, or how has it helped me in the past? And number 3, what would be my payoff for eliminating this fear? Some years ago, I went through this exercise, and I concluded that my biggest fear was the fear of poverty. I was afraid of not having enough money, of being broke, perhaps even being destitute. I knew that this fear had originated during my childhood because my parents, who grew up during the Depression, had continually worried about money. My fear was reinforced when I was broke at various times during my 20s. I could objectively assess the origins of this fear, but it still had a strong hold on me. Even when I had sufficient money for all my needs, this fear was always there. My answer to the first question, how does this fear hold me back, was that it caused me to be anxious about taking risks with money. It caused me to play it safe with regard to employment. And it caused me to choose security over opportunity. My answer to the second question, how does this fear help me, was that in order to escape the fear of poverty, I had developed the habit of working much longer and harder than the average person. I was more ambitious and determined. I took more time to study and learn about the various ways that money could be made and invested. The fear of poverty was, in effect, driving me toward financial independence. When I answered the third question, what would be my payoff for overcoming this fear, I immediately saw that I would be willing to take more risks. I would be more aggressive in pursuing my financial goals. I could and would start my own business, and I would not be so tense and concerned about spending too much or having too little. Especially, I would no longer be so concerned about the price of everything. By objectively analyzing my biggest fear in this way, I was able to begin the process of eliminating it, and so can you. You can begin the process of developing courage and eliminating fear by engaging in actions consistent with the behaviors of courage and self-confidence. Anything that you practice over and over eventually becomes a new habit. You develop courage by behaving courageously whenever courage is called for. Here are some of the activities you can practice to develop the habit of courage. The first and perhaps most important kind of courage is the courage to begin, to launch, to step out in faith. This is the courage to try something new or different, to move out of your comfort zone with no guarantee of success. Earlier, I mentioned Professor Robert Ronstadt of Babson College, who taught entrepreneurship for many years. He conducted a study of those who took his class and found that only 10% actually started their own businesses and became successful later in life. He could only find one quality that the successful graduates had in common. It was their willingness to actually start their own businesses, as opposed to continually talking about it. He discovered the corridor principle that we spoke about earlier. As these individuals moved forward toward their goals, as though proceeding down a corridor, doors opened to them that they would not have seen if they had not been in forward motion. It turned out that the graduates of his entrepreneurship course who had done nothing with what they had learned were still waiting for things to be just right before they began. They were unwilling to launch themselves down the corridor of uncertainty until they could somehow be reassured that they would be successful, something which never happened. The future belongs to the risk-takers, not the security seekers. Life is perverse in the sense that the more you seek security, the less of it you have. But the more you seek opportunity, the more likely it is that you will achieve the security that you desire. Whenever you feel fear or anxiety, and you need to bolster your courage to persist in the face of obstacles and setbacks, switch your attention to your goals. Create a clear mental picture of the person that you would like to be performing the way you would like to perform. There's nothing wrong with thoughts of fear as long as you temper them with thoughts of courage and self-reliance. Whatever you dwell upon grows, so be careful. The mastery of fear and the development of courage are essential prerequisites for a happy, successful life. With a commitment to acquiring the habit of courage, you will eventually reach the point where your fears no longer play a major role in your decision-making. You will set big, challenging, exciting goals, and you will have the confidence of knowing that you can attain them. You will be able to face every situation with calmness and self-assurance. And the key is courage. Now, here's a question. What if you could sit down with one of the most successful men or women in our society and learn from him or her all the lessons of success that he or she had taken a lifetime to gather? Do you think that that would help you to be more successful? Well, what if you could sit down with 100 of the most successful men and women who ever lived and learn from their rules, their lessons, and their secrets of success? Would that help you to be more successful in your own life? What if you could sit down over time with more than 1,000 highly successful men and women? How about 2,000 or 3,000? Your answer is probably that spending time with these extremely successful men and women, learning what they learned in order to achieve their goals, would be of great help to you. The truth is, however, that all of this advice and input would do you no good at all unless you took some specific action on what you had learned. If learning about success was all that it took to do great things with your life, then your success would be guaranteed. The bookstores are full of self-help books, each one of them loaded with ideas that you can use to be more successful. The fact is, however, that all of the best advice in the world will only help you if you can motivate yourself to take persistent, continuous action in the direction of your goals until you succeed. The probable result of your listening to the ideas in this program has been that you have made some specific decisions about things that you're going to do more of and things that you're going to do less of. You have set certain goals for yourself in different areas of your life, and you've made resolutions that you are determined to follow through on. The most important question for your future now is simply, will you do what you have resolved to do?